already take so long with me restarting. 3, 2, 1, and then we get a 3, 2, 1 countdown as well. Awesome. All right, guys, let's hop back in and let's see, can JonSnow bring it back? Pili has defeated him twice in a row now with his Colossi-focused PvZ very turtly on this map. So to summarize for anyone just tuning in, remember, it's only been a 2-gate Oracle into third base. So, and this was even a delayed second gate. So it was just a standard gate expand, gets out double Oracle, and he hasn't done any adept pressure. Look at his unit count, 2 adepts. Pili is a guy who cuts a lot of corners, builds as minimal units as possible, and in this case has gone straight into Robo, and last game he did go a Forge here as well, but he's kind of forgotten to put that down because this is right when we restarted. I'm sure he'll put it down again soon enough. He's just focusing on this. Of course, he's not changing his overall strategy, but he's just doing things slightly differently. Good job there with the Zerglings. My god, the AoE on those stasis wards is insane. So he manages to freeze even the eggs. So you can actually supply block someone by freezing their Overlord eggs. This is why stasis traps are so annoying. So JonSnow here is probably going to need to leave those queens on those exposed edges, get some Overlord scouts out, or else this is going to happen a few more times. But good stasis trap harassment. We do see the Forge coming down now, just slightly later. Second Robo, going to be going for Colossi play again. And we're going to see how JonSnow defends this. Can he be a little bit crisper? Can he do a split push, breaking down these rocks and trying to launch in here with Hydra Beam while hitting the fourth? And the idea there is, you know, we're going to see, can Pili just split his Colossi in half and defend both sides? Maybe he will do that perfectly and just crush it. Maybe we'll look at this and say, you know what, Pili's opening is just too greedy. He's getting away with too much here. Maybe you could deny this with all sorts of different cheese builds because he's only going for a 2-gate third base. Personally, I think that's a little bit dicey, trying to aim to you know, deny that this build with that sort of play, but we'll see exactly what the players choose to do. There is going to be a macro hatch and a 4th base going down. I actually wish the macro hatch was a 5th base. I feel like you can just take heaps of hatcheries really early on this map, so I would have loved to see that. The Oracle's both still alive. This Oracle just idling though. Get it. Let's go to JonSnow's camera. No, he's not paying attention. Okay, he brought his queens up, but a little bit too late. Now it's regenerating its shields. It will live to revelate another day. Grandmaster has a question, which we can answer while we're just looking at this build-up again. He says, before the rewind, Pili won with just Colossi Stalker. This composition seems fragile. Wouldn't it be a good idea to add some Adepts or even Immortals to tank? Well, you've got force fields in there, so if you think about it, you know, Colossi have great range damage, Stalkers have great ranged damage. You know, Stalkers have a good amount of hit points. Yes, they're a bit more valuable than things like Adepts, but the thing about Adepts is they're a bit awkward, slow, they don't have good range, right? Adepts are going to be very weak against Banelings. So Adepts not really the most powerful there. You know, Stalker Colossi kind of comes together as like this ranged composition that works very well with force fields. And the Stalkers are very flexible as well in how they move and how you can blink them back. So they're actually fantastic against it. Definitely having some Immortals in there would be great if you needed them. But do you really need them when you've just got Stalkers up front and Colossi? The thing is, it's more important to have more splash damage so you just blast the Zerg army down than it is to have Immortals in there. Immortals would be more important if they were fighting Roaches or Ultras. So definitely, if the game dragged on and it went to Hive Tech, there'd be a good chance if the Zerg opened up Ultra Tech that the Protoss would also start building Immortals. But otherwise, I think the Protoss would probably just be adding in like Archons if it stayed on a ground army, because they're also a very good kind of tanking ground unit, and steadily, I guess, phasing out Stalkers as the game drags on. But in this case, we saw he just said, I want to go straight to carriers off Stalker Colossi. So that was interesting as well. Now this game, JonSnow has had a little bit of a tighter opening. In terms of workers killed, there's only been 2, but there has been a bit of delayed mining time and so on with the stasis. And now there's going to be this 4 Colossi blink push coming across the map with the Warp Prism. He's frozen up on his Colossi production and no 4th base this time. So I think Pili might just be going all in. JonSnow does see the push now and he's trying to break down these rocks. And there's more rocks. The problem is he hasn't broken them all down. And all these rocks we're seeing are actually so dangerous. So JonSnow going to try and defend this base. This is part of the reason I also love the macro hatch was another base. So he could say, oh, you're going to push this base? I can just abandon it. I don't even care. Oh, stasis trap's going down around the push. This is so powerful. Oh, I don't think JonSnow's seen it. JonSnow, he's going to try and engage from all sides. Banelings and Hydras kind of going in just a couple at a time at the front. He's going to try and close in from all sides all at once. Here we go. He's going for it. And a couple of Lings do set off the stasis traps. Good job there. The force fields are fantastic. Banelings blink on... Stalkers blink on top of the Banelings. But oh my god, the surround is real. That is the surround that he was looking for in the previous games, guys. And you can see there's just not enough force fields. Pili gets surrounded. Holy shit. GG, JonSnow manages to just break the push. Pili went a lot more all in on that one. His +2 wasn't quite done as well. Let's talk to Pili. And I have a feeling he's going to say, oh, I just made a few simple mistakes there with that push. Let's talk to him about it. And who knows, maybe we'll just replay that in that fight. That could be really cool. Let's get a call to Pili going. Hey, GG, well played, mate.
That was terrible. I don't know what happened, but suddenly my army just disappears.
Yeah, that's kind of how this army works, right? Like if there's like a hole in the force fields, or like the Zerg gets the perfect surround, you can kind of fall apart a little bit suddenly.
Yeah.
So what do you think were... I noticed here you were going for like a, much more committed push, right? There was no fourth. You were just going to like spend all your money warping in. You're like, I'm going to try and kill him, right? This is kind of like a 3-base timing, right?
Yeah, like I didn't see him making too many Hydras. Like for some reason I kept seeing him making links with my oracles. So I kind of tricked myself into thinking that he's either going to switch mutas or go for the fast Broodlords. Plus he took a gas on his 4th, which is only 1, but he also took a 5th base. So I thought he was just like playing super greedy. So I decided to just do the 4 Colossus push. And then it still could have worked. Like I had the stasis wards, but I relied on them a bit too much and they didn't get anything, it seems like.
Yeah, I think like individual Zerglings, and I don't even know if he did that on purpose. I'm actually checking in the replay, because if he set those off on purpose, that was sick, because he had no vision of those. He didn't know
yeah, he did
down.
set it on purpose. Yeah, he sent 1 link in advance and 2 links from other sides. So he actually like, yeah, that was actually well played by him. Because usually when I play like a modern, Zergs just like run 20 Balins into stasis wards.
No, it was pure luck. I just watched the replay.
So?
He happened to only have 2 Zerglings on the left flank and 1 Zergling on the right flank. And they just happened to click in first and set off the stasis wards because your army was shooting the units on the front, so they didn't roast them before they got in stasis range. That's such bad luck, man. Oh, that's so funny.
But I still think like you can take this fight. Like if I just don't commit too much into like going up to high ground and just go back and forth, because like I should know that he's doing the concave because no one's gonna fight 4 Colossus like straight up.
Yep.
So I should just go back and forth between those concaves and trying to like blink on top of the small like armies. I'm pretty sure like I can win this fight if I get like, a couple of tries,
Let's rewind and see. So I think this is a cool little like scenario to look at, and obviously like this is not a very realistic scenario, but it's cool. Like in a game, you don't get to sit there and perfect the fight, like right. It's all about being decisive.
Sure.
But this is so cool for like the theory of being like, if you do this perfectly, it's like maybe Zerg just can't defend. Like it's just mechanically too hard if you're really careful with this.
What if I just walk around and attack of his 3rd through that like kind of choke? Because then I can just 3 forceful behind, the choke at his 3rd base. Like it's 3 forceful choke. Like if I just
if you like walk straight up towards the hatchery, you mean?
Like the 3rd base at like 6 o'clock. If I just attack at 6 o'clock from there.
6 o'clock is the very bottom of the map. Oh, you mean walk around the very far right-hand side? Yes. Oh,
then,
yeah.
Like, it's a much better place to attack with this kind of army. Because I attack where he can surround me from any side.
That's actually...
If I attack there, it's only one side. And also I can put some stasis and then some force hooks.
That's actually really smart. Okay, awesome. Yeah, let's give that a go. So I'm going to restart from 8:30 just as you're pushing out. Or about to push out. And I think this will be a really cool little scenario to see how that actually works. Let me see. Recover game. 8:30. Awesome. Yeah, this is always funny, that little micro. And do you think you'd even warp in a few more sentries, maybe, as it drags on?
Yeah, like, I was kind of being... I don't know, like, I was saving gas for extra stalkers, but I think a couple of extra sentries would actually be nice from this type, for sure.
That would be awesome. Cool. All right, man. This is going to be sick. So good luck on the regame here. Let's roast some Zergs in a beautiful, sterile situation where you get to plan exactly which abusive choke point you're gonna destroy them in, man. Good luck. All right. This is going to be sick, man. I can already like feel myself crying as I watch JonSnow trying to engage and not quite getting the angle. This is going to be really funny. I even feel like if the first thing he said, where he just kind of moves back and forth and doesn't commit quite as deep, so he can force field those choke points off on those flanks, I think he can still probably hang on there, especially if those stasis wards manage to go off on more than a single couple of Zerglings. But that's really cool that we get to see this now. It should be fun to see Ken Pili absolutely crush him. And this will probably be our last regame. We might do one more after this, but since we've already been going for close to an hour, I think it'll be good after this replay to hop into just that replay of the late game while we get both guys in and answering questions. Okay, ready guys? Here we go. So if you guys have any questions about Zerg, about Protoss, about even just personal questions for these guys as pro players, shout them out in chat. Use that x5_pig tag. I will be scrolling all the way up and checking all the questions throughout the show. Hopefully my chat didn't die or clear at any point. I do have multiple copies of my chat open, so hopefully they shouldn't die. It should be fine. But yeah, JonSnow's seen the push, guys. He knows what's happening, but does he know about this? No, he doesn't, because he didn't get to listen to the call. So he's really focusing on defending this area. Check it out. Hasn't broken down those rocks. Unfortunately, hasn't broken down those rocks either. Is breaking these rocks down, which is kind of nice. But here we go. Check this out. Pili this time is pushing right down the right-hand side. Much more choked up areas, and JonSnow is going to have to adjust on the fly. How can he handle this push? And you can even deny mining from the low ground there. So let's see how JonSnow does this. Is he going to try and defend in this open area? As a Zerg, you're tempted to, but I don't know if he's going to do it. Yeah, he's going to pull back because his flank is not in position, and all these banelings might walk into that stasis trap, and this could be disastrous. Just look at this push positioning here for Pili. This is insane right now. Oh, man. He's got stasis traps behind this. Force fields can go down in front of it. Oh, my God. And JonSnow is just like, oh, okay, I actually just can't defend this base. He's realizing he can't defend that. He's going to try and fight before Pili gets too far forward. Some baneling detonations actually got through there, but I don't think it's enough. A lot of those banelings on the north side just washing up against the force fields. And JonSnow's out of bank now. He's building more and more Zerglings. He does a +2 melee versus the +1 attack, soon to be +2 attack of Pili. And look at that, more sentries warping in, and Pili just backing off. He's like, yeah, I don't need to force my way into the big open area. Look, I can deny this mining from the low ground. He should actually move to there right now. And he could roast so many drones. They're all so stacked up. But he's actually just going to fly around. Ooh, stasis trap does catch some Lingbane on the south. Units coming in from multiple sides. He's got to protect that warp prism. Here we go. Oh, God. Oh, God, those drones very exposed. Spore Crawler spews a little bit of acid on the Colossi. Not quite going to be able to take them down. And it looks like Pili here just finding a sweet spot on this map, and JonSnow being forced to abandon these bases. And this is something which I think we're going to see more and more on this map, is Protoss always finding the abusive position. And this is why my instinct earlier about, like, okay, fighting the pushes front on is not that great an idea. But this time around, remember, Pili is not on that oh man, the banelings can't even get in. It's fully walled off. Oh, that's harsh. I love the baneling counter. If he got those in the mineral line, that would be great for JonSnow. Help equalize the economy a little bit. He's going for Hive and Spire. He knows he needs to go up to a higher tech army. He's going to try and fight this as best he can. I don't know if he's going to be able to make much happen though. But yeah, like I was saying, so you want to kind of fight the army front on, because you're like, hey, well, there's no fourth base for Protoss. This is kind of all in. If I stop this push, I'm okay. But we see here Pili is just kind of playing an almost MC-esque style. We just like, I have force fields. You don't have Ravages. Like, this is really good. Maybe you need Ravages on this map because of the choke points. Who knows? A couple of banelings get some great hits on the sentries. All the sentries actually go down there. And I think the Warp Prism? Oh, the Warp Prism goes down as well. Okay, nice little pickups for JonSnow there. But units lost, guys. Almost double the units lost for JonSnow. There's still a little stasis ward party down there. Another one there. These oracles supporting the army have just become such a huge thing in PvZ lately. As much as you hear Protoss cry about Hydrabane, you will hear Zerg cry about stasis traps just as much. Adrenal Glands, +3 melee, and Great Aspire. This is it. JonSnow wants to go to that higher tech. Remember, Pili only took a half fourth base. Hasn't taken the further away one. So even though he's up in economy on a very basic bitch army. He's got 6 Colossi with +3 mass Blink Stalkers and 2 Oracles, and that is his entire army. He does not have sentries. Ooh, those Stalkers being all trapped in there. So this is his push. He's basically like, I'm going to kill you with this army now before you get things like Broodlords. And that window is actually closing. He needs to push right now. And JonSnow, I would love for him to take another base on this right-hand side because I think he's going to have to evacuate this base. And the problem is he just might not have enough money to morph a lot of Broodlords. Here we go. This is a good buying time mechanism. He's going to go and try and base trade a little bit. His units are just going in. Oh, massive stasis trap on those Zerglings. But Adrenal and +3 are getting closer to done. Well, Adrenal is anyway. Adrenal will be finishing soon. The Hydras and Banes coming in. Drones are going to evacuate, I think, just barely in time. Looks like most of those will get on out of there for now. Banelings are rolling on in. The base trade is starting, and if he can morph Broodlords in the back of his base and just get a full base trade on, I think if he can then regroup those Broodlords with his army, he'll be okay. One problem with this is your Banelings do not help in a base trade. They often just end up blowing up on individual probes, as we see happening there, and you end up losing a lot of army value, while the Protoss is losing nothing in this base trade from their main army. All the Stalkers, all the Colossi will be preserved, will be staying alive. Broodlords are morphing on this high ground. They excuse me. They are going to be very isolated there. If he stutter steps them just right and is super careful with them, he'll be fine. But he's actually going to come home. JonSnow wants to try and protect this last mining base. He says, you know what? Nah, it's fine. I took out your natural and your fourth, but he's actually not going to be able to take out the third. Pili still has a mining base, and he's kept up a lot of production as well. Broodlords are coming in now, but that's so many Stalkers with +3. The Broodlords go too deep. One Broodlord does almost fall. It's got 1 hit point, which it survives on. The Hydra's going too deep. Those Hydras and Lings need to pull back right now, I think. Oh my god, he does actually almost take down the Colossi as well. A great stasis ward. Needs to take out those bloody Oracles of those Hydras. The Broodlords are coming forward. Is there an answer to this? It doesn't look like there is. The Stalkers are a decent answer, but only off creep, only out in the open, and only if you've got something like Storms to help clear up the Banelings. Pili is going to evacuate, and he's going to say, you know what, I kept some economy live. Maybe I can play this out. He's rebuilding a Cybercore. He's still got gateways up. He can make more Stalkers, but with +3 melee Adrenal Zerglings, like, this is such a dicey situation for both players. The Colossi, a few swipes can clear up all the Ling Bane, and then the Stalkers can just blink underneath. So if JonSnow attacks with his ground army too far in front of the Broodlords, he will get destroyed. On the other side of things, if Pili's Colossi go down, he's just going to get so wrecked by Broodlings and Zerglings. Like, his Stalkers will do nothing. They will just disappear to +3 Broodlings and +3 Adrenal Zerglings. So Pili here, realizing this composition probably is going to be a bit awkward with no Storm supporting it. I'm going to go for triple Starport. And I would not be surprised if he just tries to build 6 Void Rays and just, like, overcharge, focus down the Broodlords in the middle of the fight while the Colossi and Stalker try to deal with the ground army. A big charge lot counterattack is going to come in here. Actually, no, he never got charged this game. So he's only got slow Zealots. He's going to try and focus down that hive, but he's not going to be able to get it in time. Charge lots, not all that effective. Just going to pick off a few drones. Oh, he's going to go for the Great Aspire. The Zerglings, Banelings need to get on top of that. They need to save that Great Aspire. Oh no, the Baneling's actually not getting through there. There we go. Okay, he will save it, but it does take a lot of damage on that Great Aspire. Might make a difference later on. Where are those Broodlords? Got to make sure he keeps those protected. JonSnow trying to rebuild his economy. It is a 42 drone economy, but only 1 base that's mining well, which is this one, and soon to be a second. Meanwhile, Pili has a full half base and a mostly mined out base. So in terms of economy, JonSnow is mining more minerals already, and when this base starts mining, he's going to be mining way more. Void Rays and +1 ship weapons on the way. So that's really a short-term response from Pili. I think Pili is worried about a fast push from JonSnow and not having an answer. So he's going for the short-term solution, the sort of surprise solution. But if JonSnow catches wind of this, if he sees any of those Void Rays, and then he just builds more anti-air to support, maybe gets in a couple of Infestors, maybe just gets out more Hydralisks, I think he'll be completely fine against it. The threat is if the Broodlords are kind of towards the front of his fight, he doesn't know about the Void Rays, doesn't have enough Hydralisks, and then the Void Rays just like switch on overcharge, blast down the Broodlords, and then he's in big trouble. But for now, his supply is getting bigger and bigger. His income is getting bigger and bigger. And looks like Pili is a little bit low on that economy. Oh, Warp Prism has been spotted. JonSnow. JonSnow has seen the Warp Prism. Is he going to catch it? Oh, he's looking for it. He's looking for it. He's looking for it. He's looking for it. Oh. Does damage that quite a bit. I would love the Corruptors to go chase that down. Zergling's just scouting all over the place right now, and he sees it. He knows it's triple Void Ray production. Oh, JonSnow, he's got the information now. Is it enough though? He's got drones in this army. Where are those broodlords? The broodlords are just back over to the left. He's got 9 broodlords now. He's only got a couple corruptors supporting them. The Zergling in the main base has seen this. So what do we got, guys? 5 Void Rays with +1. A whole bunch of Archons going to be supporting this. Both players working on this composition. This is going to be intense. I'm actually amazed that JonSnow with the base trade maneuver made this work after being in such a bad position, losing 2 mining bases and so many units to Pili's army earlier on. He's brought it back with that big counterattack maneuver, and really that's got to be the strength of this map, right? Protoss players getting spread out, this back door of rocks being wide open. I feel like it's always going to be about your multi-prong picking apart a Protoss player on this map, and who knows, maybe someone like Stats will just never lose this map because he's too good at defending and spotting that stuff. Maybe the Zergs will never lose it because they're just too good at multi-pronging and coming in from multiple angles. I'm still completely undecided on the new maps, but definitely very interesting to see how Colossi and Force Fields can abuse Hydrobane in these choke points. We've got a couple of Vipers in there, a couple of... I think Blinding Clouds have got to be the best choice here. Oh! Gets 2 Stalkers, but he's a little bit open. Oh my god, oh my god. Massive blunder from JonSnow. He ends up losing 2 Broodlords there. He gets some Abducts, but he loses a Viper. Almost loses a second Viper as well. Only gets... Oh, does get a second Void Ray. Okay, not too bad. But this is still very dicey for both players. Corruptors there. Ooh, they're going to take a shot at those Void Rays. Accidentally morphs a Broodlord and instantly cancels it. Oh my god, the Hydras aren't supporting the Broodlords. Oh no! Oh, massive screw up in the positioning from JonSnow. Pili pounces on it. All the Broodlords get focused down. But the Hydras on the right side do kill a lot of these units. There's still just 1 or 2 Broodlords left. I don't think it's enough though, because the Colossi is still standing. If he still had 3 or 4 Broodlords, it would be fine. But he doesn't have enough meat shield. And JonSnow has made a blunder here with that positioning. I did not think he could lose this positioning, but Pili is so decisive and so on point. I can't believe he makes this work with bloody Stalker Colossi and a couple of Void Rays. But he manages to break the superior economy. Hydra Lingbane Corrupted Broodlord Force breaks through just with that aggressive positioning, catches him out of position, snipes down most of the broods, and now it's all Ogre, man. Pili is just on fire today. He's looking so good. Luck says, it seems to me that JonSnow needed to be much more aggressive once he had his broods. They were on a huge timer. I actually don't think so at all. I think this army they were great against because it's very hard for Pili to afford Tempests because there was only a 30 probe economy from Pili. I think this army right here was completely fine, but that last engagement I think was just the disaster, unfortunately. So let's get both guys in the call now. While we kind of rewatch this last fight once again, and then we can kind of load up that other late game and we can just talk about it. So guys, ask all your questions. Some of the questions I've already half answered. Don't worry, I'll ask the players as well, get their thoughts on it. We can watch from Pili's camera while I get both players into a call. And let's do it.
Yo.
Hey. So I'm going to get everyone in the call now. We played a few long games, so I figure it's a good time to finish up the replaying of games and kind of hop in there. Just waiting for Pili to pick up. Because obviously he's not aware of the fact. So I'm going to message him in game as well. Pili.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Pili there? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, man. What up?
Hey.
Awesome. All right, so I guess thank you so much, guys, for coming on. We're going to have a little bit of a chat here while we can, you can load up probably the late game replay, or maybe that last replay if you want. Let's load up that last replay. I think that's the most interesting, actually, to talk about. And we can just kind of chat and answer questions. So first things first, that last game. Pili, how did you feel at the end of that game? And did you think you were in a pretty desperate position? Were you ahead? What do you think of that last engagement?
I don't know. Like, I was just so confused the whole game because first, like, I killed his third base and then, like, kind of denied the money against his fourth base with, like, my first push with the 4 Colossus one. So that went pretty well since we adjusted the angle I attacked from. And then suddenly, like, he kind of went to the base trade, so I thought he was being desperate because he's like, well, I can't beat his Iron Gun base trade. But then, like, 10 Broodlords show up out of nowhere. And then I managed to, like, save my Stalker somehow, but I lost my core. so I couldn't even start Stargates for a while, or couldn't work on any stalkers.
Mm.
And it took me a while to realize that I lost the core too. So then I thought I was kind of in a bad position, but I knew that he had no money because there's just no way he can build such an army and lose all his bases and still like have like bank. So I was just kind of sitting there hoping that, like, I know if I get Void Ace, he can't really counter them because Hydras, like, they never really work well against Void Ace if you have Colossus. So it's kind of just like hoping that I can get enough Void Ace sometime, and that kind of just happened.
I kind of feel like if the Hydras are under the Broodlords and you stutter step the Broodlords, the Zerg composition is still superior here when you don't have Storm. What do you guys think?
I think
the thing is,
didn't engage properly, but if you have enough Void Rays, you're fine. It's just like it's a weird balance.
yeah, the thing is with Void Ace, like, you just like activate them and then you like shift click like 3, 4, 4 Broodlords, and even if you kill like 4 Broodlords, you'll have 4 Broodlords left, and then like it's just not good enough. I can just blink under. Like once Balings
What
are
if
gone.
if I got enough Vipers to get parasitic bombs off? I got like 2 or 3. Would that's scary?
Yeah, sure. Like that would be good for you, but you
Yeah,
kind of
I
like
didn't have
wasted
time.
them. Yeah. Like at the end, you kind of like tried to like use your Broodlords to kind of like chip on my army, and that just didn't work for you at all. Like I think if you
it was
just
really
step
weird.
back,
I was so spread out because I had the one base on both sides, and I was just like running back
Yeah.
and forth. The army gets so bad.
And that's
Weird.
yeah,
Weird
I
map.
like that parasitic bomb there, right? Because that does kind of counter the just jump forward and overcharge. And like the Hydras kind of can do okay. I definitely think Jon Snow had, I guess his army supply was slightly smaller here, but losing those 2 Broodlords before the fight started for 2 Void Rays, I think was pretty nasty because yeah, you also used up the Abducts, and then it was just not having, you know, your Broodlords were really exposed when that fight started. I think this angle, these specific armies, just because there's so many Stalkers in there, and I just don't think Stalkers like really pull their weight in this sort of fight. I think the Colossi, the Archons are great, the Void Rays are pretty great, but I think if there was like half the Hydra Bane underneath the Broodlords, I think this is like gonna go way better. And I think at like the end of the fight, when the Void Rays go back, there's like 5 Broodlords still standing, and I think like it's gonna be really close still. What do you think, Pili? Do you think like in the specific engagement towards the end? I don't know if you're in the replay or like at that point yet or anything.
But yeah, I can see the stream, yeah. But I don't know, like those kind of fights are always like 50-50. Everything that involves Colossus and Stalkers is always like super random. Like I've played like, quite a bit of games on ladder with it. Sometimes you just completely crush your opponent. Sometimes you just get destroyed and can't even kill a single unit. Like it's actually pretty random. It seems like because Colossus are also like pretty random with what they attack. It seems like it depends on like what Colossus, because a lot of the times they attack brutally or they start attacking like a score or something. But in some fights they actually like attack like a clump of Balings or something. You get like a lot of value, but you can't really micro that in the fights because you're more worried about like.
Oh, you had like no robes at the end of that game too.
Yeah, I had no probes. I also did the mistake with that warp prism warping in like 10 zealots in your base trying to snipe something, and then I realized I have no probes and I have no money to rebuild my base. So that was kind of unfortunate. That was a bad warping. Didn't do
I remember like all my stuff kept dying. Like my Hydra Den died, my Bane Nest died. I was like, I can't make anything. What's happening? It was like I was like creep. I ended up making like 4 queens at the end. It's bad. Yeah, I don't know. Hydra, like Colossus are weird. It's like not many people do them, but like they're pretty scary unless they just like die. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah. There's never even fights. There's always like either Protoss getting destroyed or Zerg getting destroyed. It's never like close fights.
And what is I want to hear Jared's thought on the second push, right? Because the push before got surrounded and crushed, and what Pili was doing was he was planning to just go around the edge and just hit from behind that base in that dirty choke point where you just couldn't engage. So what are your thoughts as a Zerg player on how he did that Colossi push at 9 minutes and just kind of got in the back crevice?
This map is so weird, like trying to set up concaves because everything is just so weird. I don't even know if that base is that viable. If you can just get behind there, those Colossus, it's like pretty difficult spot to fight. But I think just leapfrogging bases might be the best option while maybe doing more counter damage. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
that spot is dirty.
So by leapfrogging bases, like just kind of like always have like extra bases on the other side, so you can just like pull drones, run, take a different base. That's what you mean, yeah?
Yeah. I don't think you can have Broodlords for this push.
No way. Unless you're like super greedy, but then I can just do other pushes. Like,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
know I'm gonna like do Colossus before the game even starts, sure you can do
Yeah,
that.
then
But
you can like rush.
there's like
rush
so
like,
many
easily.
more lanes that I can do off of Stargate. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way you can play that greedy.
It's really interesting because there's so many rocks as well. Like, I wanna, if you can check the stream, Jared. There's like obviously gonna be a very
I'm
slight
watching.
delay. I'm wondering, like, okay, if the Protoss pushes down that side, right? Like, where is the open areas where you can maybe force a better fight? And I'm just kind of like looking around and thinking about it, and it's like, okay, there's like,
Yeah.
there's an area just below the watchtower where, but you need to take down these rocks next to it first, and then there's like. There's this other open area where it's got like enough angles, but then you've kind of got to have the rocks to the very bottom right taken down, where like maybe you can intercept the push in the open and get that like much more like, hey, you can't get into the most disgusting choke angle, but it's like you've got this very narrow windows where you can force a perfectly spread surround engagement on one of those angles, and if you don't get that, you kind of need to just sacrifice the bases and go around. So
Yeah.
watching the games, I was thinking what you just said, right? Sacrifice bases, just leapfrog bases, and just be counterattacking more. And I feel like it's a really base tradey map, right?
Yeah. It's such a scary army though. I'm afraid I'm gonna die if I commit too much to counters. Because like it's a really meaty Stalker Sentry Colossus army. But
So it would have to be
Bailey's
kind of
pretty
like
good.
base trade or nothing, right? Like it's like you can't just like split 20 Hydras to counterattack because then there's no way to even slow the army down, right?
And all he needs to do is have his Mothership Core and just do like 4 overcharges, and then he can defend any like mid-range counter.
Yeah.
I remember when we were coming back into the replay, I forgot I was like in the middle of breaking down rocks and stuff. I was just like, oh, there's an army coming across.
That's one of the weird things as well about this format. It's like we get to see some really cool scenarios, and we also get to see some really dumb mistakes of like oracles just fly into some units, or you kind of forget that you just you had to build overlords like just after you restarted because you lose your rhythm, so you like get supply blocked or something like that. So it's not like an absolutely perfect, obviously, scenario, but I think we still get to kind of learn a lot about it. So while we continue to just kind of watch this replay, I'm gonna start asking some questions from chat. So I'm gonna scroll right on up. As obviously the show's been going for a while, see if there's any good questions. So, Shishadi says, what is Pilipili's dream composition versus Hydrabane that doesn't involve mass carrier?
Well, the best thing is the storm. Like on this map, I prefer going Colossus because of the way the map is like played out. But on most maps, it's much better to just open up like 2 oracles and then go like couple sentries, couple like adepts for pressure, get a war prism, and then just like get like as many high templars with storm as possible. And then you basically just turtle, and then like once Xerxes starts getting to hive, and you scout that with oracles, like you can just never afford to lose oracles, and you start like seeing them like going hive and rulers and stuff, and then you should be like almost maxed out with like 8 high templars full of energy, couple sentries, like couple archons, like 8 immortals, and then you can finally beat Bane Hydra. But most of the times, a lot of Zergs, like, they know that like once Protoss is maxed out, they're pretty much dead, so they will be like attacking you constantly. So that's why you just need to like be really good with turtling. You have to like have like perfect walls, so like the bailing run bys don't just like one shot 20 probes or something. And you just turtle all game, and then defend, and then eventually eventually Protoss army just becomes too strong. And if you do let them get Brewlords, then of course you have to go carrier boarding and stuff.
If they just stay on
Hydrabane,
Hydrabane, sorry, JonSnow, you go.
The Hydrabane's like super expensive too, so as long as you're just like staying alive, Zerg's just gonna be broke after a while if they're trying to trade you.
And it's also nice to like harass them a bit, like not letting them get like, you know what Bial does when he gets like 90 drones, like 10 bases, and then just spams Hydrabane all game.
Yeah, he like doesn't even try to be clever with his attack angles. He's like the master of
Just
A moving into storm. So yeah, ultimately, like if you are against someone like that who does kind of a BL, and you know, if you aren't going up to carrier play as well, right? Like this, so there's a point where your army does get easier to use, right? Where you've got those 6 or 7 high Templar, and also when you've got like a lot of Immortals and Archons in front, because at that point you don't even really need to bother with force fields, right? It's literally just kind of
the hardest part is the mid game where like Zerg is attacking you with like 150 supply of Hydra Bane, you're like 120 supply with like few storms, few sentries, and like Bailing's, like if you do like a small mistake and then Bailing's roll into your high Templars, and you're just dead right away. So like that's the hardest part. Like you need to learn to control your like small immortal storm army, and like force field, because it's also really hard to like properly use force fields with Storm. And plus you have Archons, so it's like it's important to keep the Archons away from High Templars, because if you try to force field like around High Templars to save them, and then there's Archon, and then it breaks the force field, and then everything dies. So it's just all about controlling stuff.
All right, Varen has another question for Pili. Lots of questions for Pili. Hopefully there's some more Zerg questions down below. Though I guess everyone got to hear your thoughts on Hydra Bane last week, hey? So everyone's like, yeah, we already know everything about Hydra Bane from JonSnow. Can you ask Pili, says Varen, what he thinks about Colossi timings in general, compared to the more common Storm play? So I guess, is it map dependent? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's really map dependent. Like, I think Abusal and this map, this sequencer, are good for the Colossus style, because there's a lot more chokes. For like on Blood Boil or like Proxima, there's no real chance to do that kind of stuff because it's way too easy for them to get us around. But on Abusal and this map, it's pretty possible. And I think it's very good because Zergs also like kind of get confused because Colossus aren't as common. So a lot of them are like, I need to make mutas, and it just doesn't work. Like, I guess if every Protoss starts doing that kind of stuff, then it will become weaker. But now that it's not as popular and every Zerg is just so used to playing against Storm, Colossus style is kind of viable. But I feel like if Zerg plays 100% perfect, Protoss kind of doesn't stand a chance. Like, I've had games this is like good, like really good Zergs that somehow get Vipers, but they time before Colossus push comes. I don't really know how that happens, but like getting Hive isn't as expensive. And then like they just get 2 Vipers, and then you try to force field, but they pull Colossus, and Colossus also break the force fields, and then Balins roll out. So I don't think it's that great, but until Zergs figure out exactly how to play it and exactly how to scout that stuff, it's kind of viable.
Cool. What a little question from me: if they're going Ravagers rather than Hydra Bane, is Colossi still viable?
Like, I've seen like Pendaberry play against me in that style, and he does like he gets like 3-4 Ravagers, and he also drops the Balings on you. So like literally Hydra Bane, as soon as he sees Colossus, he just adds like a few Ravagers to break the first force, and he also starts dropping Balings on top of you. So then like your forces kind of become useless. Not exactly useless, but it's much harder to control the army. So that's definitely like a thing. But then again, like if I just start making Disruptors and sit back, then you wasted so much time into like, money into Ravagers. So then you can't really switch to the Blue Lord. So then once I'm like properly maxed out with 200 supply, then you just can't win a fight.
Yeah, I think any Ravager style is just on a clock.
Yeah. You just have to all in, and on this map you can't all in. Like the map is too big for you to ever like kind of attack. So it's possible, but like too risky.
Through this game, man.
A question for you, John. JonSnow, Jared, man with 2 names. Would Ultras be a better transition versus the Colossi Blink army than Broodlords? That one comes from Bullia.
I think Ultras are pretty bad. Unless you're like playing completely, like that's your whole idea, the whole game is to get the Ultras, and you have like, I don't know, Infestors and Bling upgrades and Ultras. But I feel like it's just not that viable, because they can just mass Immortals or
because I have 2 robots
units. Anyway. Yeah, I don't think Ultras are that good in ZvP.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think when you're not at the highest levels, Ultras are amazing because the Protoss players don't react fast enough and spot it and go, oh shit, Chrono Boost Immortals, defend, I got 6 Immortals, I'm fine now, right? So you'll kind of have the Ultras and they're a really like A-move friendly unit. But once you get out 6-8 Immortals, they start to tear them apart like so easily, and the Ultras end up really as dead supply as long as the Protoss player is good enough at control clicking his Immortals and just shift clicking them on all of the Ultralisks. I guess it's just, when Protoss players don't have that micro, they can be really good, but otherwise they're just too much supply, right? Too much cost and too hard counter.
Broodlords are pretty hard to control too when you're like so slow and big maps like this. It's just hard to play. But yeah, I don't know. Ultras used to be good, I think, at the beginning, if you're facing like a Disruptor style maybe, and you get like Fungals and stuff, but Broodlords in general are just more solid play.
Yeah. I think Ultra's I guess a good way to think of it as a surprise unit for the guys in chat. If you can suddenly, you've got a lot of money, your opponent's on a mass Stalker Colossi army. Obviously, if you can instantly flick your fingers and suddenly have 8 Ultralisks with Kindness Plating and +3 melee, like, fuck yeah, that's great. The problem is getting that situation in a high-level game is very, very rare. It's a unicorn. It just doesn't happen.
Too. Like, a nice Ultra Bane surround on creep would wreck any Colossus Sentry army, but it's just so rare.
So, for JonSnow, is it worth it to switch out of a Hydra composition into Fungal Bile Queen when you see Sky Toss coming your way?
I've Fungal Bile Queen. It's like a pretty gimmicky style. I think just mass fungal neural corruptor brood is like way more solid late game. But it's just like it's such a turtley style. You have to play like Stefano and just like sit and make Protoss attack into you. But I mean, fungal. If you're a lower level player, I think Fungal Bile Queen is pretty good. I know Scarlet's had some pretty nice timings with that. I'm not as good at controlling that.
Yeah, it's pretty damn hard. And that late game was interesting, right? You landed the Neural in that one fight. One thing we saw was Pili focused a lot more on upgrades. I guess what I would say, my analysis would be, you're not really a guy who wants to play that stage of the game, JonSnow, right? You really just want to avoid it.
I'm pretty new to the late game.
Yeah. No double Spire, whereas Pili was like double Cybercore instantly, bam, 3 Stargates pumping carriers while doing a Stalker Colossi push. It was like, okay, he's done this 67 times before.
Yeah, that's what he wants to be. That's where I was out of necessity.
Okay, cool. I think we've answered all of the questions there in chat, I do believe. Awesome. All right, I think that's answered them all. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. For anyone who wants to follow you guys, you can follow them. There will be some Twitter links down in the YouTube comments, and we'll post some in chat right now. If you guys could just share them in Discord, for me to make my life easy, that would be awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. Obviously, shout out to Psystorm Gaming for having all the good NA players.
Yeah.
Any shout outs to your girlfriends, your mums, your practice partners, anything like that?
No, just shout out to Psystorm Gaming and David.
Yeah, they're David Kim. Yeah, once David Kim left, like Protoss is just getting destroyed. Like,
it's a great thing.
Can we just get David Kim back, please?
No more David.
Like, it was doing so well. I could just go Sky Toss every game, every map, every matchup, and I was fine. And as soon as he leaves, it doesn't work. Like,
wait, when's the new patch coming?
Tuesday, I think.
Oh, so it's gonna be before. Wait, Tuesday? So it's gonna be after Ladder Challenger, but before the actual Challenger?
Yeah, they might change that. Now that I think about it, because that's after Ladder Challenger before the qualifiers.
Yeah, it's like all your practice is gonna be on old patch, and also tournament games will be new. But
not that big a deal, is it? What, charge upgrade?
Well, yeah, it's like a charge upgrade change, voidage change, and what else? Oh, the infestors are no longer invisible. So that would be nice, because actually in that macro game, like, I kept trying to attack his infestors, but like you can't tell where they are. So like I was just gambling with my Oracle. Like, I have 200 energy, so I just hope that before my revelations hit his infestors, so I can actually see stuff. But then that didn't happen.
A little like black visual indicator when they're moving, and you can't see them with protection. Is that what they're changing? Like,
yeah, like when they're underground, you can actually see. Yeah, like you can actually see them.
Yeah, same with tunneling claw roaches will also be more visible. So you're gonna see a little dust tread that's actually
kind of like
visible.
a Wood of Mines, you know, like you can see the Wood of Mines where they were.
Alright.
Same in the time.
To be fair, like, it was pretty. I think it was pretty bad dynamic for especially late game Zerg versus Terran, where Terran's never gonna have Ravens out, and like it was just there's too many games where it was just like, okay, this game's really close and back and forth, and then the Burrowed Infestor just fungals the whole army, and it's like, this is so stupid. Like, I don't know.
No, it's great. I don't care about them seeing. I just like it feels better to just move them around when they're burrowed. They're a lot less bumpy and annoying. So I'm fine with if you can see them.
There was a really cool change as well. I don't know if either of you guys noticed the effect of this. I know I noticed it. They actually fixed up the Infestor hitbox as well while it's burrowed.
Oh yeah. I
Um,
was the one complaining about it. I was the one
Yeah.
writing Blizzard emails about it. Like I wrote like 4 emails to them about this, and then finally fixed it. It was insane. Like you couldn't click on them. Like
Yeah.
you literally just couldn't
Yeah,
click
that's
on
what I
them. That
heard.
was
You
insane.
had to click above the graphic. There was like the top
Yeah.
30% of where the actual visual. So here was the infester for the guys on stream, and you had to click like on this top bit, or you just wouldn't click on it. So there would be so many late game ZvPs where I'd be like, "Oh, they're exposed. I've got the revelation. Feedback, feedback, feedback," and I'd hit 1 out of 8 feedbacks, and then they'd neural everything, and I'd be like, "What just happened?" And then I
wasn't
sat in
even
a
making
unit tester
FSs
and
back
realized the
then. So
hitbox
sad.
was just broken.
Nice.
So that's actually been fixed now, which is really cool. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for the chat. Shout out to Psystorm. Bring back David Kim, guys. Go and sign the petition at bringbackdavidkim.org. We may have to get Borat to put a wedding sack over his head, but we'll do whatever it takes. All right. I wanted to show a
Thanks,
late game
everybody.
fight, but it was taking too long to load up the replay. Thanks for hanging out, dudes. I'll see you guys later.
All right. Thanks for doing the show. See
Cheers,
ya.
bros. All right. A little bit awkward there because I was like, wait, we're almost at late game. And then I realized I was halfway through the replay and I was like, fuck off. It takes too long. I wanted to talk a bit more about the late game. It's kind of tough. Thank you very much for hanging out, guys. Appreciate the support. I know this has been a long show. It always is for What If Wednesdays, but we had some interesting games. Whenever we got the pro players here, I love to get them to share their knowledge with you guys and everyone. I want to say a massive thanks as well. Harry Psalms for the big tip. He said, "You the man, doggy. Thanks for dumbing this game down for this dull mind. Keep up the good work." Thank you very much, Harry Psalms. Gauntlet and Stormless for the hosts as well. Much love, guys. Birdie for the sub as well. Holy shit. Really appreciate all the support. For you guys watching on Twitch, I'll be back tomorrow with another daily. Not sure exactly what it'll be on just yet. Might be a pro talk. Still trying to see if I can lock someone in for that. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow, sub, whatever on Twitch. Don't go anywhere if you're on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, though, that's all for now. Don't forget to hug a watermelon, kick a walrus, and of course, punch a garden gnome in the gonads. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye and good night.